Hello students, I hope you would all be fine. Today we are going to discuss the poem The Death of the Hired Man by Robert Frost. So let's explain the text of The Death of the Hired Man. Mary sat musing on the lamp flame at the table, waiting for Warren. When she heard his step, she ran on tiptoe down the darkened passage to meet him in the doorway with the news and put him on his guard. Silas is back. She pushed him outward with her through the door and shut it after her. Be kind, she said. She took the market things from the Warren's arm and set them on the porch, then drew him down to sit beside her on the wooden steps. So let's explain 1 to 10th line first. This opening stanza functions as an introduction to the situation, presenting the attitudes of the two main characters as well as broaching the major conflict. Mary was sitting and reflecting upon the flame of the lamp which was placed on the table. In fact, she was waiting for her husband, naming Warren. When she heard the sound of his steps, she softly ran down the dark passage to meet him at the door and delivered the news that Silas, their formerly hired servant, had come back so that he might be prepared for the situation. Mary restrained her husband from entering the house abruptly and shut the door with him behind her. She then entreated him to behave gently with Silas. Next, Mary took the articles Warren had brought from the market from his arms and placed them in the veranda before the door. After this, she pulled him to the wooden steps and made him sit by the side. So let's read our next lines 11 to 30. When was I ever anything but kind to him? But I'll not have the fellow back, he said. I told him so last haying, didn't I? If he left, then I said that ended it. What good is he? Who else will harbour him at this age for the little he can do? What help he is there's no depending on. Off he goes always when I need him most. He thinks he ought to earn a little pay, enough at least to buy tobacco with. So he won't have to beg and be beholden. All right, I say I can't afford to pay any fixed wages, though I wish I could. Someone else can, then someone else will have to. I shouldn't mind his bettering himself if that was what it was. You can be certain when he begins like that, there is someone at him, trying to coax him off with pocket money in haying time when any help is scarce. In winter he comes back to us. I am done. Let's explain 11 to 30 lines. Warren, sensing what his wife was going to say to him and taking note of her earnest appeal, says that he had always been kind to him in the past, and then asserted that he will not take him back in service. Further, Warren reminds Mary that he had warned him the last haying season that his truancy will cost him his job. In order to reinforce his resolution, Warren points out that at present he is good for nothing, and nobody will give him employment due to his old age. And still further, he says that Silas was not a dependable man because he had been always leaving him in the time of his greatest need. Silas, according to Warren, works a little only to buy his tobacco to make both ends meet. Warren had told Silas that though he very much wanted to employ servants on fixed wages, but now it was not possible for him to do so. Warren says to Mary that he did not mind Silas's going away to improve his lot, but that was not the reason. In the busy haying season, when there is scarcity of labor, some employer lures Silas to go to him with some small pocket money and he leaves. And again, when winter comes and there is no much work to do, he comes back to us. Then finally, Warren resolutely declares that it is too much and he is done with him.